Hey, warrior, before you think about any goal, before you think about money, career, or dreams, I want you to answer one very simple question, one that can change your entire life. When you first open your eyes every morning, who owns your mind? Is it you or is it the phone lying next to your bed? Is it your willpower? Or is it the notifications, news drama, comparisons, and anxieties of the outside world? Here's the truth that 99% of people wake up in a state of being led. They don't start a day. They are thrown into a day. They open their eyes and immediately their mind is invaded. Their emotions are controlled. Their peace is stolen all before they even take one deep breath for themselves. But the remaining 1%, they wake up in silence, in intention, in absolute control of themselves. They don't let the world decide their heartbeat. They don't let the news decide their mood. They don't let circumstances decide their worth. They command their day from the very first moment. And it's not because they are more special than you. It's not because they were born stronger than you. It's because they refuse to live weaker than their own potential. Morning is not just a time of day. Morning is the gateway of destiny. Whoever masters the morning, sooner or later masters their life. And today, if you're hearing these words, I don't believe it's an accident. I believe that somewhere inside you, there is a part that no longer wants to live being dragged around. A part that is tired of reacting instead of choosing, chasing instead of leading, surviving instead of mastering. Before we continue, I want you to do just one thing right now. Write down for yourself or in the comments, I control my morning. I control my life. This simple act is an inner oath, not to me, but to yourself. And if you are ready to join the 1% who no longer live unconsciously, if you're ready to build a morning with discipline, sovereignty, and real strength, save this video, follow this journey, because what you're about to hear is not cheap motivation. It is a roadmap to reclaim the power over your life starting from each morning. And now, we begin with the thing that makes most people fail in the very first second. Section 1. When discipline wakes up before emotion. Most people don't fail because they lack knowledge. They fail because every morning they let their emotions drive. They wake up and ask, do I feel inspired today? Do I have enough energy today? Do I feel like trying today? And then they let a tiny feeling decide the direction of an entire day. Let a moment of laziness decide the course of an entire life. The 1% are different. They don't ask their emotions. They command their body. Not because they don't know what fatigue feels like, but because they understand one cold truth. If you only act when you feel comfortable, you will live a life that is easily defeated. The snooze button looks harmless, but it is training for procrastination. Every time you hit it, you tell your brain, it's okay, let's hide for a little longer. And the brain learns this very quickly. It will use that same habit to make you delay your work, delay your dreams, delay becoming the person you know you could be. Morning discipline isn't about waking up early for aesthetics. It is the first vote of the day for your identity. Getting up as soon as the alarm rings, you are training your ability to self-command. Standing up even when tired, you are training your self-belief. And that belief is more dangerous than any motivation, because when you know that you do what you say you will do, you become hard to break. Discipline doesn't make you happy immediately. It makes you reliable in the long run. And in this world, there is no power more formidable than a person who is reliable to themselves. Try this starting tomorrow. Alarm ring, sit up immediately. No thinking, no negotiating, no asking for 5 more minutes for your weakness. The moment your feet touch the ground, say quietly but firmly, I rise to do the work of a human being. Not the work of earning money, but the work of building yourself. Because every morning you defeat laziness by 1 inch, you have already defeated it in hundreds of decisions throughout the day without even noticing. Morning discipline doesn't create loud effects. It creates silent changes that cannot be reversed. And once you get used to obeying your own commands, you will no longer be easily controlled by any person or any circumstance ever again. Section 2. Winning the first hour in silence. The moment you open your eyes is the moment your mind is at its weakest. It hasn't built its walls of defense yet. It hasn't filtered what is worthy of entering. And right at that moment, the world rushes in. A vibration, a swipe of the screen, a breaking headline, a face on social media, an unconscious comparison. Just a few minutes of that, and you've already lost control of your day before you even had a chance to live it. The 99% let the world enter before they enter themselves. The 1% do the opposite. They raise silence like a gate, not silence to escape, but silence to pull their power back inward. The first hour in silence doesn't need to be long, just 10 minutes. But those 10 minutes are the boundary between a day that drags you and a day you lead. In silence, you hear your real breath, your thoughts before they get distorted, your emotions before they get triggered. You don't have to do anything in that time. You just have to be there with yourself. Sit up, close your eyes, inhale deeply, exhale slowly, and ask one single question. What energy do I want to bring into the world today? Not everyone dares to ask that, because asking means taking responsibility. When you begin your day with noise, you learn to live by reaction. When you begin your day with silence, you learn to live by choice. Silence doesn't slow you down. It puts you ahead internally, like a still lake. Only when someone throws a stone into it can you see every ripple clearly. But a lake that's already turbulent reveals nothing. Life works the same way. Only when your inner world is calm can you see what needs to be done and what needs to be released. Try it for one day. Wake up, no phone, no news, no unwanted noise. Only your breath, the morning light, and the awareness I am alive. You will be surprised to realize you react less, you're less impulsive, and you are strangely steadier throughout the entire day. Because once you master that first hour, the rest of the day is simply expanding that control into the world outside. Section 3. Face the day before it happens. Most people don't collapse because of adversity. They collapse because adversity hits them before their mind has time to put its armor on. They walk out of their home with a naive illusion. Today will probably be peaceful. Today probably won't go wrong. Today will follow my expectations. And then, just one off-tone comment, one cold email, one unexpected situation, and their entire inner world collapses like a chain reaction. Stoics don't live in illusion. They live in preparation. Not preparing for victory, but preparing for the inevitable collisions of life. They understand. Not every day is gentle. Not every person is kind. Not every plan flows smoothly. And instead of letting these things break them, they rehearse for them quietly in their own mind. This is the ancient Stoic art called premeditatio malorum, anticipating adversity in calm. In the morning in silence, they ask themselves, what today could disturb my peace? Where might I get provoked? How might fear, anger, or pride challenge me? And if it happens, how will I choose to respond? Not to worry, but to train a higher reaction before the lower one appears. The unprepared react, the prepared choose. When an insult arrives, the unprepared snaps, the prepared pauses. When failure shows up, the unprepared collapses, the prepared stays steady. The difference isn't in the circumstances. The difference is in their mornings. You cannot control everything that will hit you today, but you can always control the person you send out to face it. Try this every morning. After a few minutes of silence, visualize 3 things that might annoy or challenge you today. No details, just acknowledge they might come. Then ask, if this happens, who is the strongest version of me that will show up? Hold that image, carry it with you. When the situation actually happens, you'll be shocked by how calm you are, because it won't be the first time you lived it. You already walked through it before it became real. The one who doesn't rehearse gets pushed around by life. The one who rehearses moves one step ahead of it. And in a chaotic world, being one step ahead in your inner world means being a lifetime ahead in strength. Section 4. One morning reminder that pulls you back to yourself. Every morning before the world touches you, you need an anchor. If you don't have one, you drift. And this world is full of waves waiting to sweep away anyone who has no weight inside. People don't get lost because they lack information. They get lost because they forget who they are the moment pressure shows up. You may know the right things. You may have been disciplined, strong, awake. But all it takes is one unfocused morning. One morning without a reminder, and you slip back into the old version of yourself, rushed, reactive, ruled by emotion. Stoics don't trust emotional memory. They trust daily reminders. Just one line, one sentence, but powerful enough to pull them back to the seat of the driver instead of the passenger being dragged around. Some people choose only my reaction is truly mine. Others choose, if it's not a matter of character, it's not my concern. Or the simplest version, today I live as someone I respect. No poetry needed, no dramatics, just truth deep and sharp. A morning reminder isn't meant to excite you. It's meant to set your posture for the day. Like a warrior touching the hilt of his sword before stepping onto the battlefield. Not to show off, but to remember I step out carrying the responsibility of a fighter. If you don't tell your mind what matters, your mind will choose on its own, and it rarely chooses anything noble. It will choose comfort, comparison, delay, and invisible fears. So choose your anchor. Choose one sentence that your heart can grab onto every time it begins to shake. Don't change it every day. Repeat it long enough until it becomes part of who you are. Each morning after the silence, read it slowly. No performance, no theatrics, just clarity. Then look straight into the mirror, not to find confidence, but to ask, will I live worthy of the words I just said? A person without a morning reminder is a person living by momentum. A person with one is a person living by sovereignty. And when you live by sovereignty, you no longer get dragged through the day. You shape the day. Section 5. Master your mind before the world breaks in. Your mind in the first hour of the day is like soil still wet after the rain. Whatever seed lands there first takes root the fastest. The problem is simple. Most people let others plant seeds before they ever plant their own. The news plants anxiety. Social media plants comparison. Emails plant pressure. Schedules plant hurry. And by the time they realize it, their inner garden is already full of weeds. They no longer have the strength to grow what they truly want, only enough strength to fight what has already taken over. Stoics live differently. They know a truth most people never recognize. Whoever controls the first thought of the day controls the steering wheel of the entire day. They don't let their morning mind wander freely. They choose what enters it, not blind positivity, not self-delusion, but clear, grounded questions. What actually matters today? Which thought from yesterday do I need to release? How will I conduct myself when I'm tested? A few minutes writing or simply thinking in silence is more powerful than hours spent trying to regain composure later. Because you cannot keep a mind clean if you only wipe it after it's already dirty. Morning mind mastery doesn't pull you away from the world. It lets you enter the world with order inside. You go to work, but work doesn't consume your soul. You meet people, but their emotions don't hijack yours. You face problems, but you don't lose yourself in them. That is the difference between the person who lives inside the circumstance and the person who lives above it. Try this small ritual. Every morning before touching any device, place your hand on your chest. Stay quiet for a few breaths. Then ask, what state is my mind in right now? Just notice it. No judgment, no fixing. Then choose one guiding thought for the day. A single virtue you want to embody: calm, patience, integrity. Just one, a small flame. And throughout the day, whenever you feel yourself shaking, return to that flame and stand tall again. The person who fails to master their morning mind will spend twice the energy trying to save themselves by evening. But the person who does master it walks into the world with one quiet advantage. They are already prepared. Section 6. Activate the body to awaken the will. The mind cannot lead a body that refuses to move, and a tired will can't create a powerful day. So many people want to change their life, yet they can't even give an order to their own body. In the morning, they know they should get up, but they stay down. They know they should move, but they scroll instead. And then they wonder why they feel fragile for the rest of the day, like a leaf in the wind. Stoics understand a truth most ignore. The body is the doorway to the will. You cannot think yourself powerful. You must act your way into power. Marcus Aurelius once asked himself, were you born to stay under warm blankets or to fulfill the duty of a human being? It wasn't self-criticism. It was self-awakening. Because the moment you command your body, you take back the throne from laziness. You don't need a perfect workout. You just need deliberate movement. 10 minutes is enough to trigger a biological shift. Blood flows, oxygen rises, your nervous system switches from hibernation to engaged. And more importantly, you prove to yourself that your word means something. Nothing builds inner trust faster than that. The weak wait for motivation. The strong only need a signal. A few simple movements right after waking, push-ups, stretching, a quiet walk, cold water on your face. Not to show off, but to send a clear message inward. Today, I am the one in control, and you'll notice something strange. Mornings when you defeat physical inertia often become the days nothing can break you mentally. But mornings when you indulge in comfort become the days you're most easily shaken because you lost the very first battle of the day. Stoics don't seek comfort. Stoics seek dominance, the kind built from small, unseen actions repeated without applause. When you move your body in the morning, you're not training muscle. You're training discipline, will, and character. You're speaking to the world not with words, but with your state. I don't wait for emotions to allow me to live. I live, and my emotions must follow. And that is the backbone of Stoic power. Not feelings leading action, but action shaping feeling. Section 7. Rehearse the person you want to become. Most people live in reaction mode. Something happens, they react. Words come at them, they snap back. Emotions rise, they get carried away. But a very small group lives differently. They rehearse before they step into the day. They don't wait for circumstances to teach them how to live. They decide who they will be before the world even gets a chance to ask. Stoics don't ask, "What will I feel today?" They ask, "Who will I be today?" Because you don't live according to your plans. You live according to the character you've trained. If you don't train calmness, you will train anger. If you don't train discipline, you will train procrastination. If you don't train courage, you will train avoidance. And day after day, these unconscious drills become the person you are, whether you like it or not. The 1% who run their lives all share one silent morning ritual. They visualize the difficult situations ahead, not to worry, but to choose how they will stand firm. They visualize being criticized. How will I listen? How will I control my tone? How will I hold my gaze? They visualize being provoked. How will I stay silent? How will I walk away? How will I protect my dignity? They visualize being tempted. How will it say no? How will it keep my boundaries? This isn't daydreaming, it's mental training. Just like a fighter doesn't wait for the ring to learn how to dodge punches, you don't wait for chaos to learn how to stay composed. When you've already rehearsed in silence, then when real life arrives, you don't panic. You execute. You don't need perfect behavior. You just need the right direction. And here's the strange thing. Every time you live according to the version you rehearsed, you carve that character deeper into yourself. Repeat it long enough and it stops being a role. It becomes your nature. You don't need anyone to teach you to be calm in storms. You practice that every morning. You don't need anyone to remind you to stand firm under pressure. You chose it long before the pressure showed up. Your life isn't built from sudden heroic moments, but from all the quiet preparation nobody ever sees. And then one day people will look at you as if you were born steady. They'll never know you trained that steadiness. Every single morning in silence. Section 8. Enter the day with inner power. There is a tiny moment every morning that almost no one pays attention to. The moment right after you open your eyes, before the world gets its hands on you. It's just you, your breath, and a choice. Will you step into the day as someone who gets carried away, or as someone who holds the wheel? Most people open their day unconsciously, rushing, worrying, pulled by notifications, pushed by schedules, pressured by things that haven't even happened yet. But the 1% live differently. They are not woken up. They wake themselves. They don't ask, "What will today be like?" They declare, "I will bring this calm into everything I touch today." And that declaration opens a rare kind of power, the kind that doesn't need noise to exist. Stoics don't start the morning with stimulation. They start it with awareness. No fiery motivation, no emotional high, Just one truth carved clearly inside today. I do not belong to circumstances. Circumstances must pass through me. When you rise from bed with that posture, you stop being a victim of time. You become the one who sets its rhythm. When you master your mornings, you master your life. You don't need a new life. You just need a new morning, a real one. Not a morning of rushing, not a morning of comparison, not a morning of fear, noise, or survival, a morning of awareness, of intention, of inner command. The weak don't lose because they lack intelligence. They lose because they fail to control themselves in the smallest, quietest moments. And the morning is the smallest, quietest, yet most powerful moment of all. You don't need to conquer the whole world. You only need to conquer yourself in the first 60 minutes of the day. When you do that, the world rearranges itself. It stops standing over you. It starts following behind you. You stop living by reaction. You start living by authority. You stop running after time. You begin leading it. You don't ask anymore, what will I have to endure today? You ask, how will I stand today? From that moment forward, you're no longer part of the drifting majority. You step into the rare minority, the awake. No one will see the battles you fight in silence. No one will hear the words you whisper to yourself before the sun rises. But the world will feel the result in your posture, in your eyes, in your calm when others panic, in your discipline when others delay, in your steadiness when others crumble. You won't need to prove your strength. Your presence will do it for you, and tomorrow when your eyes open, don't ask what the day will take from you. Ask, what version of me will the world meet today? Because from that moment on, you're not just waking up, you're waking into yourself. And once a person awakens, they never live the same again.